Good morning and welcome to week 5 in our EDUTL 41745174. This week we are going to be focusing on family funds of knowledge, and honestly this is one of my favorite modules in the course because what our children bring to us through their funds of knowledge is so important, and what they bring isn't always what is most valued by schools, but that does not mean that we as teachers should devalue all of these important things that they're bringing to us. So our goals for this week are to understand the concept of children and families' funds of knowledge, to identify the strategies for obtaining children and families' funds of knowledge, and then also to think about what are some things, some ways that you can integrate family funds of knowledge into your own classroom experience. So you've got some readings to do. You are going to read chapters 3 and 4 in Creating Welcoming Schools by Allen. You've got an article by Mall et al. To read that talks about just the research behind funds of knowledge so that you get a good foundational understanding of it. And then I'm also going to go over in some detail the directions for the Funds of Knowledge project, which is coming up in later weeks, but I want you to be able to start thinking about it and thinking about what it is that you're going to be, what family you want to connect with. You are going to, as far as your assignments, you've got a family interview paper that will be due next week. And finally, your reflection number 5 is going to be due next week. So let's take a look. Let's go into the module and take a look at what it is that specifically that you are going to be doing. So let's go down to module 5. Okay, so this recording right here, this is your PowerPoint, the lecture that goes along with Funds of Knowledge. It is the lectures presented by Maggie Spangler, another instructor in this class. There's a lot of important information in here, so please make sure you take the time to watch it and take notes. You will then read Allen chapters 3 and 4, the Mall article, Mall et al. Please read both of these before you watch the video or before you watch the PowerPoint. And then let's talk about what you've just got to do that's due next week on the 13th. And then I'm going to come back and talk about the Family Funds of Knowledge project. So your perspectives interview is due next week on the 13th. This has 2 parts because it is a discussion. You are going to interview a member of your own family about your own family's funds of knowledge. So there are different parts here. This is part 1 is a 2 to 3 page paper, 1.5 spaced, which should be posted as an attachment in the discussion board. Part 2 is responding to 2 classmates' papers. So part 1, this is the paper that will be 2 to 3 pages, 1.5 spaced using APA format, which is using 12-point font, please. Describe this family member and your relationship with them. So you might interview a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a sibling. With your family member, identify some examples of your family's funds of knowledge in at least 3 different categories, okay? Then you're going to choose one of those funds of knowledge and share how this impacted your educational experience, both positively and negatively, if applicable. And how did this fund of knowledge create a foundation for your in-school learning? After you've reflected on your own funds of knowledge, think about why is it important to consider funds of knowledge when developing relationships with diverse families and opportunities for family involvements in school. It's really important that we are thinking about how funds of knowledge is connected to an asset-based approach to family engagement. And it's important to remember that many of our families that come into our classrooms have very different backgrounds from our own, which means that just how important it is to take on this asset-based lens and be thinking about what these families bring to us. Okay. So you're going to want to use at least 3 references from 3 different readings or other references that you might have, other references from this course to support your reasoning. It should be approximately 2 to 3 pages, 1.5 spaced. Right now for this recording, it says size 11 font. I am going to change that to size 12 font. And then include a cover page with your name, date, course name, and name of the assignment. There is an APA guideline resource in our modules. This part is due on the 13th. Responding to your classmates' perspective then is due on the 15th. And your response should be connecting to your own experiences, asking questions, adding to the conversation, and your response has a 150-word minimum. This part is due on the 15th, okay? This is a total of 25 points. So your paper and responses together equal 25 points. Then another piece of your assignment that you need to do is your Module 5 reflection. You're going to read the action opportunity on page 60 of the Allen text, and then write a 1 to 2 page reflection using 12-point 1.5 or double spaced, answering the questions that are posed below. How can we learn aspects of culture in the school and community that could make a difference for students? Who are possible cultural informants in the school and community? And how can we learn together? What can we read? With whom can we talk? What movies, TV shows, etc., might lead us to deeper understanding of each other? Cite at least 2 sources as you draw upon your readings using APA format. And I can see as I've reread through this, there are things that I need to go back and fix. So those will be fixed when you come to this assignment. Okay, now what I'd like to do is now go back to the assignment that's coming up. And let's go here. And let's take a look at the assignment that will be coming up in the near future. This is your big Family Funds of Knowledge project that the final paper will be due at the end of the semester, but there are pieces that you will be doing in increments that will culminate in your final paper. The whole project is worth 50 points. Okay, read through it and make sure you mark your calendars. So now for this assignment, you are going to identify a family with a school-age child, and please do not use your immediate nuclear family or your own child. You can use other family members like nieces and nephews, but do not pick somebody that's in your own nuclear family. Then you are going to have 3 visits with this family in an effort to learn more about their funds of knowledge. And you can visit them on Zoom or in person. Those visits can happen in their homes, your home. If you're attending an activity that the family's going to, you might be somewhere in the community. And in each of these visits, you will have a particular focus. Overall, we're going to be looking at family and work history, routine household activities, and then family views of their roles vis-a-vis their children. So there are 3 parts to the assignment. There are 3 checkpoints. So checkpoint 1 is you're going to make a plan, and then you're going to turn in your plan. You will get feedback from me, and then you may do the interview. So checkpoint 1 is describe the family that you're going to be interviewing. Plan for the dates and mode of 3 interviews. Describe any assumptions you have about the family and be honest here, okay? What are some things that you already believe about this family? I think that this is important because in the end, you are hopefully going to learn some things that you had not expected. Describe your expectations for engaging in this activity. Are you nervous? Are you excited? What are you hoping to learn? And then list at least 5 questions you plan to ask the family. And this focus is going to be on getting to know the family. And in the syllabus, there are some different types of questions that you might ask. So it's the 3rd column in our description of the Family Funds of Knowledge assignment. You are going to write 1 page, 1.5 spaced, explaining your reasoning for your chosen questions. So pay attention to this. All of these things above here happen. You tell me your 5 questions, and then you write a 1.5 or 1 page, another page explaining your reasoning for these questions. Cite 2 different sources from your course content that support your reasoning, and then make a potential plan. That's due on February 20th. Then checkpoint 2, you're going to discuss how you felt conducting that first interview and how that interview helped you shape questions for interview number 2. Then list 8 questions. Again, go back to the syllabus for your focus. In looking at the 3rd column in the description, write 1. So you're going to write your 8 questions, and then you're going to write another page explaining your reasoning for those questions. This plan is due by March 20th. I will give you feedback right away, and then you can do your 3rd interview. For interview number 3, in this part, you're going to begin by describing the relationship you're building with the family. Discuss how your relationship and your interviews have helped you shape the questions for interview 3. List 5 or more questions that you want to ask in interview 3. Again, go back to the syllabus. Turn this in, another 1 page then about the reasoning for your questions. Turn this in on April 3rd, and then you may do your final interview after that. Throughout this assignment, I want you to keep a journal of your activities. Your journal, then you are going to turn in on the 17th of April. You're going to have 3 different entries into your journal, and those are described right here. Finally, your final paper is a written culmination of all of the visits with a reflection to these responses, okay? This paper is going to be about 5 pages following APA formatting and will be double spaced. Please use pseudonyms for any children and family names. It'll be very, very easy to complete this paper if you just go through and answer each of these questions. If you have questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have a great week and enjoy learning about funds of knowledge, thinking about your own funds of knowledge, and then learning about another family's funds of knowledge.